Here we go. Well, hello, and thank you for checking out our SIR video series. I'm Mark Wheeler, Managing Partner for Strategic Options and a member of the SIR Marketing Committee. Joining us today is Justin Suter, Research Manager for Corporate Insight. Justin, welcome, and thank you for sitting down with me today.
My pleasure, Mark. Happy Friday.
Thank you. You too. For those of us who are not familiar with Corporate Insight, tell us about the company and how you work within the insurance industry.
Sure. So Corporate Insight performs competitive intelligence on the digital customer experience. We've been doing that type of research for over 30 years now, and we're in pretty much every industry you can conceive of that has consumer relations. But within the insurance lens, we have a bunch of different products that aligns quite well with SIR's missions because we have life insurance team, personal lines, property and casualty team, as well as a healthcare team that maintains 4 different products in the healthcare space. And we perform research on through the lens of the end user on the websites and mobile apps that insurers offer their policyholders. We come at it from a few different lenses, but our core offering is a monitor service. So we're constantly tracking how insurers are updating and refreshing both their websites and their mobile apps. We can do a lot of different reports on what type of capabilities insurers are offer. So that can take the form of benchmarking studies, pace of change reports that look at the innovation over time, specific drill downs on individual site attributes, such as a quote tool, perhaps from an auto insurance perspective. On the life insurance side, we're going to look at what type of bereavement resources could be offered to policyholders. Healthcare team does lots of research around telehealth and the different wellness resources that are provided to those healthcare customers. So we're performing all this different research, and like I said, it works out perfectly for SIR, especially as SIR has expanded into both the life and the health space.
That's terrific. Well, this is my first exposure to Corporate Insight, so I really appreciate all that background and I becoming aware of all the sources that you have to offer. So thank you for that. Now, with the demands that you have both on a work and personal side, why are you a member of SIR volunteering your time as an active member of the organization?
Couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's wonderful to talk with researchers at SIR who are just about the craft of research. I was a history major as an undergrad, so I've been doing research for a while, and I think like most people kind of found my way to the insurance industry, but am certainly very thrilled that I did, and I've developed my own passion for insurance. But I don't think many people set out to work in insurance, but that's been my path here, but always coming at it through a research lens. I mentioned I was history undergrad, so it's always been something that I've had a passion for in general. And just fellow people at SIR who are, everyone has their own tips and tricks, and it's certainly made me a much better researcher working within the SIR community. It's also very nice to talk to people who are actually reading your work as a vendor providing or a solution provider, right? I think is the fancy term that SIR likes to use. So sometimes you could be working on a report and you publish it, you put it up on your site, and then it's like, who really reads it? You don't know. So talking with people at SIR who read my reports definitely gives me a nice warm feeling inside that it's they find value in it, and I'm providing a service to them. And then I think the third prong is just my insurance industry knowledge has definitely grown. SIR has so many great avenues, whether it's the journal club or the webinars or the roundtables that really help me continue to hone my craft. And so many specifically in carrier members, it seems like a lot of these people are truly insurance lifers, and I definitely rely on their wealth of expertise on the many different nuances, whether it's different state regulations or how to get the most out of an earnings call transcript from a company. Those types of tips have been instrumental in making me a better researcher and writer.
That's terrific. Well, thank you so much for your contributions and all the insights that you're providing to the industry. And believe me, they are read. I've read a few, so thank you for that. Now, you were a speaker at the annual SIR conference last fall and spoke about embedded insurance. What other trends are you seeing in the industry for 2023?
Sure. So I was a lot of fun doing that research, and that was part of the SIR research committee, which I'm a member of. And that was really interesting to do. I sat down and I spoke with several insurance executives who had overseen the launch of an embedded product to try to build towards a blueprint for SIR members thinking about entering the embedded insurance market, or maybe just dipping their toe in, looking at how some of their fellow carriers went about it. And we paired that with a consumer survey that a colleague of mine on the research committee, James from Bellamy, did. And it created what we felt like was a pretty compelling presentation that hopefully some SIR members can still access. And we also released a white paper on that. So definitely check that out. This year, in personal lines at least, which is where I spend a lot of my time, not all of my time, the biggest trend I think is just carriers trying to come up with ways to connect with their policyholders at a point in time that's not a claim or please pay us your policy. So two fairly negative interactions from the standpoint of the policyholder, at least. And there's been a few different innovations in this space. You have carriers looking on the property side. Can you prompt your policyholders to maintain their home safely? So Liberty Mutual and Amica are two companies. Amica has a home check app that tries to get policyholders onto a cycle of just home maintenance. Liberty Mutual, something similar through Liberty Plus, and that includes a lot of tips and tricks about, making sure your drains aren't clogged, and clean your gutters out of before a winter storm to prevent an ice buildup. Simple tips like that are just great ways to get in front of a policyholder when it's not, like I mentioned, a bill or a claim due from them. And kind of similar, just around alerts and notifications, we're seeing some more insurers adopt, texting, whether or not it's two-way texting or one-way texting. More and more consumers are much more comfortable with this idea of receiving contact from their insurer in the form of a text, and they're much more likely to engage with that than an email or just a kind of a marketing blast that they can tell is not really personalized to them.
Well, that's terrific. I think those are really good insights, and we'll have to bring you back on to talk more about all of that because there's a lot there to unpack about what's happening. Um, well, thank you for those insights. Now let's shift gears a little bit and have some fun questions. First, let me congratulate you on your collegiate athletic achievements at New York University.
Thank
Now,
you.
what sports and teams do you follow today?
Sure. So I was a soccer player at NYU, and I obviously follow soccer as well now. I was very, very, I watched just about as much of the World Cup as I possibly could this past winter. It was really odd, just conceptually, that it was in the winter. Obviously, it's usually a summer tournament, and definitely looking forward to the Women's World Cup, which is going to be this summer. I when I was in college, I think I was following pretty much every sport there was. I've certainly had to pare back a little bit as I've just grown and taken on more responsibilities outside of school. And my three big sports that I follow are the Premier League in England. So that's kind of the soccer league I follow, in addition to international soccer, the United States men's and women's national teams. Plus, I'm a big college basketball fan. So March Madness right around the corner, arguably the best 2 weeks in sports there is. Just hundreds and hundreds of great basketball games to watch. Though you wouldn't know it by my performance in our company bracket pool last year. I had colleagues. I probably watched more basketball than anyone else, and I had colleagues who picked based on mascots who beat me, which was pretty humiliating. I definitely got to do a little better this year. And I'm also a huge Mets fan. Love baseball. It's just the perfect summer sport for me. Sitting on the beach with the Met game on the radio is pretty much my ideal relaxation until they start to, raise my blood pressure from poor performance on the field. But at the beginning of the game, at least, I'm relaxed.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, you and I share an interest in both soccer and in college basketball. I'm a Byron fan. So, we watch them quite often. So I really enjoy it. Well, let me ask you another question here. Now, what is your favorite meal? And do you have a favorite restaurant you like to go to?
Oof. So, so many different ways I could go with that question. My favorite meal My favorite meal, I'll have to say, is this delicious dish that my grandmother used to make me on my birthday. It's a lot of work, so it was a once a year meal, and we call it veal spadini. I don't know if that's what she called it. I don't know if that's like a real name or not, but it's a long process of taking the veal cutlets, pounding them very thin, and you make a filling of breadcrumbs with lots of different fresh herbs and raisins and pinoli nuts. And then you pound it and you roll them up, and they're all on a skewer together with bacon on either side and onion and bay leaf, and it just absolutely melts in your mouth. But it takes like 4 or 5 hours to do. She used to do it all by herself. I don't know how she do it. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore, and it's kind of, we've carried on the tradition ourselves, and it takes my entire family 3 hours to do it. Now my birthday, it's kind of a big event, and I don't know how she did it on her own. But so that's my favorite meal. Favorite restaurant. uh so many different things to choose, but I live on Long Island. Corporate Insight has a Manhattan office, so lots of obviously fantastic restaurants in the city, but nothing really like a restaurant with a view. And there's we'd love to go out east on Long Island
Sure.
to Montauk, and there's a restaurant on Gossman's Dock that's really nice, and you can watch the fishing boats coming in and out, and that's kind of a great childhood memory, so it has a good nostalgic appeal to me.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, that's wonderful to have a special meal that your grandmother made and all those memories, and kind of made my mouth water. I mean, it made
It's
me
so good.
hungry.
It's a lot of work though. It is. And you eat it in like 10 minutes because it's so good, and it's like, man, that was a fat that's gone in seconds after all that.
As always. Well, let me have one final question for you here. How would you finish this sentence? On Sunday afternoons, I like to.
Hmm. Well, it depends on the season. If it's the summer, Sunday afternoons, I like to be on a sailboat, which is absolutely wonderful. I guess in the winter, Sunday afternoons, I'm probably watching football.
All right. Well, those are both good. Well, Justin, it was a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you for your time and for your support of SIR and all the information you shared today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.